Thanks, Alessandra and Adam. That was amazing music. And good morning, everyone who's here with us in person or online. It is a cold morning out there. Whew, you guys are brave souls that soldiered out. It's awesome. Days like this, I start thinking about yard work. And the day when I'll be mowing my lawn again, I can't wait. You know, lawnmowers are a lot like relationships. That's what I was thinking about this week. You know, I got my first lawnmower when Kathy and I got married. We moved into a place, Scenic Acres, and got that lawnmower. It was amazing. It was so bright, shiny. I loved taking care of that thing. At one pull, boom, and off it would go. Cut that lawn like butter. Loved it. I couldn't wait to mow the lawn every week. It's the weirdest thing, you know. But over time, that lawnmower, without me even realizing, kind of started acting up, you know. Rather than one pull, there'd be like 4 pulls, and then I'd be wondering, geez, did I prime that thing enough? And yeah, I'd get out there and it'd start bogging down certain places. You know, these changes were so subtle. But it got to the point where Kathy would say, are you mowing the lawn? I was like, oh yeah, to go out and mow the lawn. I start to dread it. You know, relationships, they start off often really shiny. And if you can think back to times when you got to know maybe your neighbor, or, you know, even your best friend, great times that you spent, even your partner. But over time, little things happen, little things chip away. A little disappointment, little resentment builds up. And the regular routine starts to get duller and duller, and it happens so quick. For some, it deteriorates to the point where it's just like you'd never verbalize it, but you're not even sure why you have certain people in your life. It can get to that point. You know, I took my mower into a service tech, and they did a bunch of things. They changed the spark plugs, cleaned out the carburetor, put some new fuel in it, sharpened the blade. I brought that lawnmower home, and I could not believe. It was like someone just gifted me a brand new lawnmower. One pull again, and just cutting like butter again. You know, every now and then you need a tech. There's a relational tech that we have been trusting for a while. His name is John Gottman. He's an unbelievable relational expert, but he's like that guy whose advice can be like a tune-up. It just starts making things tick again. We're going to start a series next week called In Search of Deeper Connection. Over this last year being so holed up, you've either ended up being isolated from people that you love, or you end up spending copious amounts of time with people you love, depending on whether they're in your bubble or not. Some relationships you put on some high mileage, and likely, without you even realizing it, things aren't working as optimally as they once did. And we're excited about this series because we're going to get in and we're going to clean out the relational carburetors. We're going to change the spark plugs. We're going to get us thinking deeper about what it exactly is that makes someone light up after you've spent time with them. What it does to inject life back into friendship and neighborly relationships, perhaps work relationships that have broken down. So we can't wait to talk about some of the skill sets that this guy brings up. They are things that some people do intuitively, but many people don't even know exist. But when you practice them, it's amazing what a difference it can make. So I hope you'll join us. Begins next Sunday. Hey, you're in for a treat this morning. Oh, yeah. Josh, why don't you come take an offering, and then we'll get on to the message. I was just so excited. I was going to introduce Vince here.
I don't, maybe I am the treat, but I'm not sure. My name is Josh, and this is a time in our service that we call charitable giving. And if you brave the cold today and you're sitting in front of me, or whether you're watching us on YouTube, or whether you're listening to us on a podcast, this is the time where we ask you about how or if you would like to contribute to Friends Church. And there's a few ways that you can do it. We do have a traditional black box. For those of you that are here in person, you can drop off your money there, or you can contribute online, clicking at friendschurch.ca, just a couple of clicks, or on our mobile app. And I don't know about you, but I'm always incredibly wary about when people ask me to contribute to things. I want to know what I'm contributing to and why. And Friends Church participates in traditional charitable activities. We try to help those in need and be there for people that may not have as much as us or may need a lift up sometimes. But really, we also do this amazing thing where we put on a lesson or a show every week where we allow you to actually make yourselves better and in turn make the world better. And when you contribute to Friends Church, it doesn't just work for you, it actually ends up working for others. Because what you do contributes to us doing this, and then people log in who haven't contributed yet. And then they find a place where they can make themselves better. So if you find value in what I just said there, and if you think that you would be interested in contributing, go to our app or go online, and you can be a contributor to Friends Church. Vince, this is the treat, by the way.
This is a sad treat, folks. Morning, welcome to Friends Church. I started today, just want to ask a question. Where in our lives are decisions draining? Just sit with that for a second. Some things in your life, making a decision, easy. Take your car into a mechanic, they tell you all the things that are wrong, and suddenly your brain just goes on to tilt. It's like, I can't make the decision. What do I need to do? Do I need to spend all this money? Do I not need to spend this money? So where in your life decisions just drain you? When I posted it online, one person said COVID. I was like, oh yeah. Go down the rabbit hole of reading all the news, all the alternate news, all the opinion pieces. Man, that one sucks me dry. One of the funny ones that sucks me dry is picking colors. Have you ever noticed I pretty much wear the same color all the time? It's because it all goes together. I don't actually have to think about whether my jeans match my boots, match my shirt. It's all black or blue, and it all goes together. I remember after my house burnt down, the designer came to me and said, well, what color would you like your house? And I remember just having this feeling like, I don't even know. But it wasn't just I don't know, it was just this like, why does it feel like I'm suddenly exhausted? So I said, can we have it white? And of course you all know the answer, well, which white? I'm like, just give me frickin' a white house, I don't care. There's this metaphor we've been using that talks about bowls. It's kind of how we talk about our energy. There's a top bowl of how we live our lives. This is just, walk up a set of stairs, you use energy out of that bowl. Cook dinner, go to work, it's all that bowl. But when we have to really dig in and we can feel it, when we're like, okay, I need to, this next week's going to be busy, or there's a big push, or the kids are really stressing me out right now. We have to start to dig into a deeper bowl of energy. The top bowl might be full, we can still function normally, but it's that second bowl underneath that starts to get drained. And you can feel it because little things outside of the ordinary stress you out. What color do you want your house? Just give me a freaking white house, I don't care. It's that second bowl. I can't go above and beyond. That energy, it takes more energy or takes more intentionality to pull that energy out. It takes a lot longer to recharge that bowl when you use it. Anyone feel that second energy drain or second bowl drain? Usually when I say something like, I need a holiday, I need 2 weeks off, that means that bowl is getting pretty empty. And you sustain those kind of events in your lives that need the second bowl, sustain them for a period of time, you start to go into what they call the third bowl. The third bowl is basically the end of the line. When you drain that sucker, you're out. A newborn child can often pull that kind of energy. Sustained, no sleep, sustained, taking care of someone else, sustained over and over for a year. Makes sense that there's just nothing left. I was talking to my cousin recently. He had bladder surgery. They took his bladder out, put a new one in. Crazy. But he's been in and out of the hospital for months now. No energy, on the edge of death. You can tell that third bowl for him, he's well into that third bowl. The third bowl takes months, sometimes years to recover from. And the reason I tell you this is because when I talk about decisions that take energy, I'm not talking about first bowl energy. For whatever reason, when someone asks me what color to paint my house, it goes right to second bowl for me. It just feels like someone pulled a big plug out and there's energy just draining out of me. So what in your life has that kind of excessive burn rate? You can feel it, it's just like soul tired. It's fascinating, as we get into the deeper bowls of energy, we start to use them. Have you ever noticed that simpler and simpler decisions become more and more difficult? When I'm exhausted asking what's for dinner, or what am I gonna make for dinner? It's like, I don't know. It just feels overwhelming. As we dig into the deeper bowls, more and more of our lives will feel overwhelming. More and more decisions will drain us. Up until now in this series, we've talked about how to add things into your bowls, how to recharge. It's beautiful, right? Figure out your social connections, your personal life, where you are. Even this bowl metaphor, people are like, oh, that makes sense. I can still function in my life, but anything outside of the ordinary just feels like it's going to take me out. Ah, I understand now. But what if instead of putting energy in, we think about how much energy is coming out? What if we could slow down the drain on certain things? Wouldn't that make sense? Because sometimes when we're tired, when we're overwhelmed, when we're on the edge of burnout, someone's saying to us, hey, why don't you just go to the gym for an hour? We're like, yeah, good luck. How about I sit on the couch in front of Netflix and eat a bag of chips? That's what I can do. You want me to go to the gym? Good try, Clausen. But what if we could do something that instead of adding more to your plate, just made life less draining? Wouldn't that be worth doing? I was inspired on this talk by something Jeff and Christopher, a member of our community, talked about a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. And it stuck with me. Why is it that some people can navigate certain moments and it just takes no energy from them? And other people, in that same moment, it just drains the life out of them. How do we get to the place where life isn't so draining? And so to talk about that, I thought, well, I can do kind of a half-assed job of trying to explain it, but why don't I get somebody who actually knows what they're talking about to come up here and share with you guys the kind of the core of this thing. So I want you guys to all give a big round of applause for Christopher Lawrence. Okay, we're going to try and do this very socially distanced, so I'm going to set him way far away from me in an awkward distance, but it'll keep us all safe. How's that sound? Okay, Christopher, as I get all the chairs set up here, how long have you been coming to Friends Church?
I've been coming to Friends Church almost a year. It was 2 weeks before COVID hit.
So you attended one, and then COVID hit and shut it off?
I came for the community. And what I got was YouTube.
Yeah, it's been quite a roller coaster, isn't it? Mm-hmm. What do you do for a living?
So I run a life leadership and business coaching firm.
Wow. Okay. So you're right tooled up to talk about this today.
I hope so.
So let's get it. The story that got me thinking deeply about this, inspired me. It was actually the first time you bought a car. Do you remember that time in your life? How old were you about?
Yeah, so I think it was about 25, 26, somewhere in there.
Okay, living in Calgary here?
Living in Calgary.
Where were you working?
I was working at WestJet.
Like at the campus?
At the campus up by the airport, and I lived on the opposite quadrant. I lived in the deep northwest.
So how did you get from your place, deep northwest, to the northeast?
2 trains and a bus, sometimes 2 buses and 2 trains.
How long did it take you every day?
But anywhere between 90 minutes to 3 hours a day.
3 hours.
Yeah.
And you were working, it wasn't just like, I go in and I work 6 hours.
No. At the time, WestJet kind of prided itself on its culture, so I did a lot of overtime, like on average about 60 hours a week.
So you're working 60 hours a week with an hour and a half to 3 hour commute every day.
Yeah.
Did you sleep ever?
Yeah, on the bus. Interestingly enough, I actually had insomnia at the time too, so I was getting maybe 4 hours of broken sleep a night if I was lucky.
So no sleep,
Yeah.
3 hour commute,
Yeah.
60-hour work week.
Yeah.
So you were a hot mess at this point.
I was a hot mess. Glad you said hot.
Okay, so at this point you thought to yourself, how are you going to solve this?
Yeah, that was it. And so it was like it's like I need a vehicle. Like, what am I thinking here? I need to take something out of my life.
Right.
That's causing stress. I need to take something out.
You didn't think less 60, like work a 40-hour work week, that wasn't an option?
I don't think it was an option. I don't know. I was 26. I did what they told me to do.
Okay. So you decided, okay, 3 hour commute, if I can drive, I get it down to 40 minutes.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Okay, did you know anything about cars?
Not a thing.
Like-
I mean, I knew that they had 5 wheels, 4 on the ground and 1 in my hands. And I knew how to drive it, sort of.
So how did you go about making the decision? What am I going to buy?
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if I should get new or used, but I ended up, calling friends and family and asking a bunch of questions and getting their feedback on it.
What did they tell you?
Everything.
So buy new, buy used,
Buy new, buy used, lease, finance, buy it outright.
At this point in your life, no sleep, 60-hour work week, what was those conversations doing to you?
I was so confused, and sometimes it is a simple thing like a car, but I mean, I was shutting down. Like I thought this car is going to be the thing that takes me out. Like it wasn't about the car, but that was the straw. I'm like, this is going to take me out. Like I cannot think anymore.
So the straw that broke the camel's back is you went and talked to a family member. What did they tell you?
Yeah, so I have a family member. She it's my stepmom, lovely person, lots of great advice.
It's nice that you say that.
Well, she might listen to this one day. But she said, well, hang on, I don't think that you should be buying a car. Like, Calgary Transit's really good. She doesn't live in Calgary, by the way, but Calgary Transit's really good. You shouldn't be buying a car. Like, I don't think you understand what you're getting into. And that was it.
That was it? What happened?
I was devastated. Like I honestly, because I couldn't hear my own voice anymore. I'm like, what? Okay, like I guess I shouldn't get a car.
Go back to a 3-hour commute.
Go back to 3 hours of sleep, 3-hour commute, 60-hour work weeks, and it's like, so what do I do? Well, you tough it out.
Even as you talk about it, I can feel that, like, how deep into your bowls, if we can use that metaphor, were you at that point?
Yeah, if there was a fourth bowl, I was in there.
And when your stepmom said, you should just not buy a car.
Yeah, I shut down. Like, it sounds a little bit silly maybe looking back on it now, but I think those are the moments that kind of, can take a person into their darkest places, and I went to some dark places. Yeah. It wasn't about the car, it was about the whole circumstance, but the car was the thing.
Hey, I just told you guys about picking colors. Like, for me, that's so overwhelming. So you're in this moment, 60-hour work week, 3 hours of sleep, commute. You've asked all your friends, they told you everything you could possibly, so you have no clear guidance.
No clear guidance.
Now you step up with your stepmom, and she basically says,
don't bother.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
Just keep your life the way it is, and it's taking you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I talk about that drain, does it feel like that moment for you?
Oh, I was there. I was at the bottom of that.
Wow. Now there's another story you've told me. To me, maybe I'll let you explain it, but to me, family stuff is so complex to navigate. So tell me about your mom calling you for that family gathering recently.
Yeah, so get a call for family reunion, and family reunion's coming up, and I'm like, I got one question.
So this is your mom calling you.
This is my mom calling.
Your mom who you love
My mom
deeply.
who I love. Like, I talk to my mom almost every single day. Like, she'll listen to this, and
Okay.
and
And
then
is
she'll
she-
tell me she's proud of me. you know,
Nice.
like,
And is she a pushover?
my mom? No,
Yeah.
not really. Not. She's gentle. She's kind, but she is not a pushover.
Okay, but what are her, like, family coming together is not like a small
no.
thing for her. This is a big deal.
Yeah, family. It's like we're family. We're family. We're family. Period. Conversation over. Everybody is going to be at family reunion.
Okay.
And then mom guilt, right? Sorry, moms. I'm so sorry.
So this isn't, when you say mom called about this family gathering, it's not a little thing.
No.
This in your family dynamic is a big deal.
Plan for it. Take the time off. We're going.
Okay, so walk us through. She says, Christopher, I want you to come to this thing. What do you say?
I just had one question. My question is there going to be alcohol there? That was it.
Now let's back up. For you, you've been open about this. You've had some struggles with substance abuse in your life,
History of addiction.
right? Okay. Is quite significant or mild?
Yeah, less with alcohol. That was never my issue. Lots with drugs.
Okay.
Like intense with drugs. Alcohol was never really an issue, but
Okay.
but the family has a history of addiction.
So then why did you ask, is there going to be alcohol there?
Because I have two uncles who I love and adore, extremely smart people, and when they start drinking, they get scary. So they're not violent, but they're loud, they're aggressive, it's very uncomfortable, it's psychologically unsafe.
When you say psychologically unsafe, what do you mean by that?
I mean that for me, I sit there and I'm shaking on the inside, it feels unpredictable, I'm just not sure what's coming next.
So just on guard, threat all the time.
Yeah.
And so you say to your mom, mom guilt, lovely. This is family values. You will come to this family gathering. One question, is there going to be alcohol? Which for you is this a safe place for me?
That's right.
She says, what?
She says, well, things aren't that bad. So that meant yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
And then what
things
did
are
you say?
Yeah, it was really clear. It's like, hey, I'm not going to the family reunion. It was easy decision.
You buy a car, it almost takes you out.
Yep.
You have this whole family dynamic thing, one question, and you're just like, boom, you're done. You navigated it.
Yeah.
How exactly did you do that second one?
I had to know what was important to me. I had to know what my values were in life and allow myself to be subordinate to those values.
Okay, that's very, again, you're a coach. So
I'll just lay that out there.
let me break it down. So when you talk about values, so did you do some work on yourself to say, okay,
yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I did lots of work. Coaches and counselors is the path that I took.
Okay.
And
what
just
did you
like-
figure out about yourself?
I figured out a lot of things, but particularly in that case is that if I have a choice to be psychologically safe, that's always an easy decision.
Wow. Do you feel that peace? Now you can take psychological safety and put anything else in there. But this is the dynamic that I watched, and I got to watch the course that he ran. There's a way of living our lives that he can navigate mom guilt, family dynamics, training, all that with one question with no energy expenditure. That's ninja level. That's why I couldn't tell you guys this stuff, because I can't do that. He can. Now just go into your life. Remember the part of your life that I said drains you? What if you could do that in that part of your life? What if you could ask one question and be able to navigate it with safety, with clarity, honestly, with no energy? Did you hear the difference in the energy expenditure? One, when you say you bought your car, you said it just about took me out. You're not exaggerating. It was like,
No.
I am on the edge of like life-threatening.
I'm looking for a way out of my life. Like
Right.
that was the straw for me.
That's the level of drain he was in. what if we could live our lives in a way that we can ask one question and navigate those difficulties? That's what got me going, holy shit. Okay, I asked you to kind of think through some examples of people, because again, we're all just thinking you're Jesus now, and it's like, we can't do it, but you can do it, right?
So no, certainly not perfect. I'm having that looked into. I'll let you know what I come
I
up
still
with.
think the hair is kind of Jesus-esque, but I don't know. I always think of Jesus as that haircut. Okay, so tell us some examples of people you've worked with who have this ninja thing that you can do. Tell me about them.
Yeah, so I had one of the women that I've worked with and have known for a long time. She's had a situation, super situation, but it kind of reminds me of like you go to a restaurant, your food doesn't come out the way you want it. Do you say something? And actually, most people, like statistically, most people don't. They just eat it, right? So it was actually about her hair. So she values her appearance. She pays high quality, right? Always high quality.
So she's like going to a really good salon.
She's going to a very good salon, someone with a great reputation, someone with the title of master stylist. I don't know what that means, but
that's a thing?
Apparently it's a thing. I don't know. So, that's what she said to me.
Keep going.
Yeah. So she goes in, she gets this haircut, and it doesn't look the way she wants it to. And so,
like she gave her the wrong style, or she just
it was the wrong
screwed
style.
up?
There was a screw up. Like there was a chunk of hair that was cut way too short, shouldn't have been. It almost looked like the stylist made a face. It was like, oh. But then she said, the stylist didn't say anything about it.
So she gets home, looks in the mirror, and is like, oh my
Yeah, I'm
goodness.
not happy. Yeah.
Okay, what does she do?
For her, it was still a little bit, maybe like a 10 or 20 minute struggle.
But let's back up. What would
Yeah,
she have
sure.
done in her past?
Nothing. She would have cried about it for 3 weeks. And I know this because I saw her do these things, like having to speak up and speak for herself and say something. She would, cry off and on, struggle for 3 weeks, wonder why it couldn't have been done right.
So when we look at the energy drain, this moment, these kinds of moments would just flatten her.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does she do this time?
Yeah, after kind of about 20 minutes of contemplating, she says, look, like, I have a value here around communication and honesty, and I have a value, with compassion, but I also have a value around my appearance. Like, I want to look and feel a certain way. So she takes pictures of her hair, and she sends it to the hairstylist after about 20 minutes of being home, kind of playing with it to see what she could do, and sends it off to the hairstylist and says, I'm not happy. There's some things that I've noticed and some specific feedback, and out it goes.
3 weeks of like mulling and wrestling and fighting with this. 20 minutes.
Yeah. And there was still the struggle of like the anticipation of like, what's the hairstylist going to come back with? There's still that discomfort. But the relief for her is like, I did what I had to do.
And so you guys had worked together between, this is going to take me out 3 weeks of crying on your shoulder, finding a new hairstylist, all that. You guys worked together to figure out a plan, a thing that you were going to do. When this happens, I'm going to engage in this rule. It's kind of like a rule.
Yeah, rules are a great way of putting it.
So once she hit that moment of, wait, this isn't working, she just engaged the rule.
Yep.
Okay, how does one find those rules in one's life?
Yeah, magic.
Go work with you.
Yeah. It's, it requires a little bit of, values work. Like
In the moment? Do you do this stuff in the moment?
I think in the moment, if you can, I think it's so much easier if you start to figure this out in really specific ways as you kind of move through your life. Maybe some pen to paper activities about like, here's the situation. There's something that I value about how I responded or reacted.
One of the things I noticed with you as I watched the video, I always try and find my values in the moment. When I'm angry, when I'm tired, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm something. And you know how that goes, right? I start yelling. What his work was is, wait a second, before you're stressed out, before you're overwhelmed, before you're triggered, before mom's on the phone going, you need to come to this family gathering, and you're going, I know. When you have none of that stress, figure this out then. Does that resonate with what you've taught?
Yeah, it 100% resonates with it. I kind of like look at it like, I'm learning to play the piano right now, and one day I'd like to play it for friends, but if you start playing it with friends the first time when you're already stressed out about it, you'll perform very poorly.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same thing, right? Where it's like if you actually do some practice with this work when you're in good states or even calm states, maybe you're not in a good state, but you're in a calm state, then when you have to perform in those stressed out moments, it actually can come really easily. It's not always comfortable.
Right.
Like saying no to my mom will probably never be comfortable,
Right.
but it was an easy choice.
But the energy drain, and again, we're here in a series that's talking about how do we avoid burnout. That's the key.
Yeah, I actually find it gives me energy too. When I make a choice like that, when I can actually walk away from saying no to my mom with compassion and kindness, about a family reunion, I actually walk away feeling confident. It's like I made the right choice for me, and even though it's uncomfortable, I know that it's the right choice for me, and so for that reason, I'm an even better son to her. I can show up even better with her. I don't have resentment towards her or towards the family.
So this work actually recharges you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Folks,
Yeah.
can we give a big round of applause for Christopher?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vince. Do you want me to take this?
Does that not blow you away like it does for me? I watched my sister, and Jules, if you hear this, I apologize. I didn't call you and ask to use this story. So I watched my sister and her husband do this in parenting. One, they have a little daughter, my niece, the Raider. She's like that big. I don't actually know how old that is. Anyone know? Like early school. How's that? I'm the best uncle. My brother-in-law, she walks into my brother-in-law at 4 o'clock and says, "Dad, can I have some candy before supper?" You can tell in his brain, he's thought this through in the moment. In fact, he's had a conversation with her. He says, "What's our rule?" She's like, "No snacks before supper." He says, "Okay, have a good day. Go play." And with my sister has a value of conversation. She's a full-time mom. She works full-time. She's getting her master's degree, so she's going to school in the evenings. She's tapped out. Raider comes to her and says, "Mom, can I have a snack? It's 4 o'clock before supper." And she starts to have this debate with her daughter. "Well, I don't know if that's a good idea for you, but Mom, I'm really hungry. But last time you spoiled your supper." And like literally, my niece is going to be a lawyer because she grinds my sister down. But here's the thing that I watched. My brother-in-law had thought through this conversation when he wasn't stressed. He set a rule. And it took him like that. Like, "Mom, is there going to be alcohol at the family gathering?" "Okay, well, the decision's made." After the conversation with my niece, by the way, my niece talked her into getting candy. So there's my niece like chugging down candy. My sister has fallen over on the couch because she doesn't have any energy left. She didn't have enough energy to have this kind of a conversation with her daughter. How many times do we engage in situations in our lives that are draining? When we're tired, we don't have anything to give. When probably we should just follow the rule. I use this around COVID. I don't read anything about COVID other than Henshaw's updates, and I read the stats every day. That's my rule. That keeps me relaxed. If I go down the rabbit hole, I know I'm going to go crazy. It just takes too much energy that I don't have right now. Now, if we were sitting on a beach in Mexico for 3 weeks, maybe I would go down the rabbit hole. I got tons of energy. So where in your life would a rule work better than kind of playing it by ear, being creative, having to wrestle it through? One of the beautiful things about religion, you all look at me, organized religion can be beautiful. Just work with me here for a second. It creates a series of rules that we don't have to think through. It's the least energy-intensive way to do spirituality if those rules fit for you. Growing up, I didn't have to think about if I was allowed to drink. I knew the answer. It short circuits our lives so it doesn't take so much energy. Now, when I realized that the rules don't fit me and I started having to wrestle through the rules, that took a lot of energy. And when I have that energy, I can do that work. But when I'm burnt out, when life has got me pulling from those bottom bowls. So where in your life could a rule, could a system, could a value simplify your life so that right now it doesn't drain you? I work out on a schedule. It's a rule. On this day I do that, this day I do that, this day I do that. If I don't have that, I spend all afternoon thinking, should I work out? Oh, I'm kind of tired. Oh, but, haven't worked out a whole lot, but that COVID body's got some problems going on, so we need to, right? Can you feel the energy expenditure I'm going to do trying to figure that out? When we're tired, sometimes the simplest, energy-efficient way to live our lives is to revert back to a series of rules. I've seen people order food menu services. Costs them like, $10 a month. Basically, they get every day, it's like, this is what you're going to eat. So you don't have to think so deeply. You don't have to wrestle through. I heard people talk about rules around social media. Date nights. Me and my partner do date night every Friday night. Without that, well, should I have a date today? Should I not have a date? What would the date look like, right? So as we end this series, put your damn mask on first, where we're saying we're burnt out. So what does self-care look like? So that, I loved how Josh put it, make your world better so that you can make the world around you better. As we look at that moment in our lives, where could a system of rules help us? Maybe not forever, but for now. Stop the drain in our system. Christopher ran a values course a couple weeks ago. I got to watch the video. It was fantastic. He's going to run one again in another couple weeks, months, years. We're not sure yet. We're still working on a date. But if you're interested in doing this work, again, it can start in rules. The rules can come from a deeper place. The values is that deeper work where you figure out what I value, and it starts to create a series of decision matrices in your life, rules that you can live by. So you can navigate things like the ninja that Christopher was with his mom. If that's of interest to you, if you're willing to do that work, go to our app. There's right at the top, there's a thing that says Values Workshop. Sign it up for it. As we get details, we'll send it out to you, see if we can get it all working. As I watched through that video and I watched him tell stories and I started to feel that in myself, I thought, what if I could live my life with less energy draining out of those deeper bowls? I don't even have to add anything to my life. I just have to slow down the burn. What could our lives look like if we could start to recharge those deeper bowls by making sure we don't drain them needlessly? That's my prayer for you guys and my prayer for me. Can we give one more big round of applause to Christopher? Say thank you. Have a great week, everybody. Next week, we're starting the new series. Jeff's going to be up. It is going to be mind-blowing. I'm not sure what it is, but it's always mind-blowing. Have a great week, everyone.